Hey everyone, welcome to week 4. This week you're getting ready to write your entire essay, so that's pretty exciting. Let's get started. So you were going to do this week. We'll begin with week 4. All right. We're going to talk about writing your essays. I'm going to go over some essay examples. I'm going to go over AI examples. I'm going to kind of rediscuss integrating quotes and how to do it, and show you where to submit. Okay. This week's work you should do in this order. You're currently watching the lecture, which is great. Good job. Keep doing that. Then you should take quiz 4, integrating quotes. And this is this should help you to remind you how to properly integrate your quotes in essay 1. Okay. Then write essay 1 after watching this and watching me go through how to write your essay and all that kind of good stuff. Okay. And then you need to, after you write and submit essay 1, you need to watch Moana and or the 1992 version of Candyman. So Moana's a great summertime movie. Okay. You can find that on Disney Plus. Candyman, the first one, the original, 1992, can be found. You can rent it on Amazon Prime. You don't be a Prime member to rent it. It's like $4. All right. This is not required. It'd be great if you watched at least one of those, because next week I'll be discussing essay 2 right away. And essay 2 is a film analysis, and I'll be analyzing Moana and also analyzing Candyman as well. And so I would like to make sure that you are actually that you have seen the films, because it'll make my analysis make much more sense. Okay. If this was a real class in person, like in person, summer classes are usually like 3 hours twice a week. We would actually watch these films. We would have a movie marathon day. We would watch Moana, and then we would watch Candyman, and then I would talk all about it the following week. Or we would watch Moana and talk about it. That's probably what we would do. We'd probably watch Moana and then analyze it, and then watch Candyman and analyze it. But we're not in person, and I can't show those films online. YouTube will get very upset, and I'll get in trouble. Okay, so because man, I own a copy of Candyman on DVD, so I can show it to you, but I can't. So it'd be great if you can watch Moana and also watch the 1992 version of Candyman. I will be analyzing those next week. Okay, and all that applies to essay 2. So please do that, and then find time to read your independent novel. Some people are not realizing you're supposed to be reading a novel this semester. So, but I'm sure everyone who's watching this lecture knows that, because you've been watching the lectures and you've noticed on this sheet it says novel. Okay, because I am getting the idea that some people are taking the summer class thinking that it's like summer vacation. It's not that big of a deal, and that's not really the way summer classes run. Okay, so that's what we're doing. All right, so let's discuss writing your essay. Okay, so we begin with your outline. All right, go to your outline, pull up your outline, and here, then go to File and hit Save As, and save it as essay 1, short story analysis. Okay, whatever. And then hit Save. Okay, now you're ready to begin. If your outline was already in proper MLA formatting, 0, double, great, 0, double. Okay, then you're ready to go. Okay, your title is already there: A Feminist and Existential Reading of The Story of an Hour. Notice it's not underlined, it's not bolded, it's not in italics. Okay, it is none of those things. It's just written normally. The Story of an Hour is written correctly using quotation marks. Okay, That's incorrect with italics. That's incorrect with italics and no quotation marks. The only way you can write your short story is with quotation marks. Boom. Boom. Okay. All right. So you have this introduction written. You have here your quote, you have your source author, you have your short story, feminism, open window, existentialism, and your thesis statement. All these things need to be integrated into this paragraph. Okay. Now, so you're gonna be writing your essay in your outline and then deleting the chunks of your outline. All right. Now, the great thing about this is that you don't have to start with every single paragraph in order. You don't have to begin with your introduction. Okay. You don't have to. You can write different paragraphs at different times because all you're going to be doing is turning this into a paragraph. You're going to be turning this into a paragraph. It is my suggestion. Listen, y'all, this is my suggestion, okay? Hear me out. And only those who are watching this are really going to hear this. I do not advise you to sit down and write your entire essay in one sitting. You should not do that, okay? Because you will not maximize your brain power. The first paragraphs you write will be really good because you're using all your brain power. But as you're going through, you're going to decrease in energy. And the later paragraphs you are writing are going to turn to crap. I see it all the time. What you should do is write one paragraph a day. I'm recording this on Friday. I don't know when you're going to watch it. I don't know when I'm going to post it. I might not post it until Monday. But let's just say I post it Monday. Okay. All right. You could theoretically write, if you write 2 paragraphs, I mean, 2 paragraphs a day is fine. Okay. Monday, you write 2 paragraphs. Tuesday, you write 2 paragraphs. And then, let's see how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then today I'm going to add in the conclusion, what you should do for the conclusion. All right. Don't worry about that. I'm going to add that in. And so then you write the last paragraph on Wednesday. All right. Then your essay is done by Wednesday, and then you can edit it some and review it. Okay. But for me, what I like to do is that I like to write one paragraph at a time, and I like to go over it. I like to review it. I like to edit it all in that one sitting. Okay. So like I don't just write the whole essay and then try to edit the whole essay. I write one paragraph at a time, and then I edit that paragraph. Okay. And you might be like, this guy, let's see, he doesn't sit down and write stuff, but I do. I write articles that try to be published. I was going to try to pull one up, show you, but whatever. On different things, like different stories to analyze and stuff. And so, because I really enjoy this kind of stuff. And so I write an outline. It's very detailed. I have my quotes, and then I turn one paragraph into, one piece of my outline into a paragraph at a time, and then I chill. Okay. It's like, the whole essay is a half marathon. All right. And if you ever noticed, so some people, their time per mile toward the end of the half marathon is kind of low. It's definitely low compared to the middle and the beginning. Okay. And that's because they're losing steam. All right. So instead, we try to maximize your time, maximize it in chunks. You'll have a better time per mile if you're just running 1 or 2 miles at a time, okay, rather than trying to run the entire half marathon at once. Okay. I don't speak of full marathons because those are ridiculous, and I don't understand why people run full marathons, and I would never want to run a full marathon. And while I secretly envy those who do, I also think you're crazy and insane. So half marathon is what I like to keep it at. Okay. In terms of my analogies. All right. So last week we kind of did this. It was kind of I don't know if you realize this, but it was kind of it was kind of a setup. Let's see, where's my sample paragraph? Last week I had you turn one of these into a paragraph. Okay. So that me having you write one paragraph for your paper, that imitates what you're doing this week. The way that you sat down and you turned one of those paragraphs, one of those chunks of your outline into a paragraph is the same thing that you're doing this week, but you're doing it 4 times over, plus a fifth time with a conclusion. Okay, I can't even find my outline. There it is. All right. Okay. So let's look at this one. I think it was, yeah. All right. So I had last week I showed you how I had this outline part, paragraph 2, about historical feminism. I had this quote: "The feminist perspective also enhances the reader's awareness of literature that dramatizes the double standard." Mary Sungrass. I had a symbol, which is the open window, and then I had a quote from my primary source. All right. And I needed to put all that together. All right. I need to put it all together. And it's which is essentially in this order. It's claim, and then support, and then, as I discussed, analysis. All right. Where then you explain it all. All right. And so with this, I turned this into this paragraph that I wrote last and I posted last week for y'all. Okay. Kate Chopin's The Story of an Hour is a feminist story that challenges the social structures placed on women in the late 1800s, even though it is common knowledge that women make 80 cents to the dollar compared to men in today's workforce. Their place in modern society is quite an improvement to the limitations women faced a century ago. Kate Chopin's work is important because it presents a historical feminist perspective of women at the time, which enhances. Okay. So once I write that paragraph, I delete all that stuff. All right. Now, if you recall, and I did go over this pretty specifically in week 3. I highlighted how like the quotes I use in my outline now they're how they are presented in my paragraph. So if you don't remember that or you didn't watch it, you should go back to week 3 lecture and watch that. All right. So then, like, let's say I want to work on my next body paragraph. Body paragraph 2. Okay, explain the school of philosophy, existentialism. All right. So this is my support right here. This is my support. Okay. So I need my claim. All right. So I'll begin with something like this. Existentialism is a philosophy that has been around for hundreds of years, and it deals with the idea of how we are to live on this earth. Now, many might ask, isn't that all philosophy? Which is a reasonable question to ask. What makes existentialism, and you don't need to capitalize it, what makes existentialism unique is that now I have my support, is that it fluctuates between the concept of a destiny in which, like Nietzsche's Amor Fati, one accepts what has already been chosen, and the concept of a radical freedom whereby the choices are offered in an absolute indifference. Now, this author here, oh, it's not from an author, it's just from Britannica Academia. Okay. So there was no author. Now, I don't have my works cited page here. Okay. All right. Now, let's see. I don't want to use this as a parent. I might instead do this. Uh, according to, because Academic Britannia is not an author, so that wouldn't actually go in the parentheses. Okay. But it is a tied, a proper name for a publisher, so I am going to this. Okay. According to uh, Britannica Academic. All right. And then delete. What makes Extension unique is that it fluctuates, blah, 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 blah. And this actually came from the source article on this called, guess what? Existentialism. Okay. That was the name of the, I got that from Galileo. Came from Galileo. All right. And it was the existentialism entry from the Britannica Academic. All right, great. So this school the philosophers of this school tend to focus on the anxiety that life on Earth causes in the people who are trying to figure out a world that one believes has no definitive answers, which sometimes results in a phrase called existential dread. Okay. Again, I pulled that from existentialism. While other schools might focus on the positive aspects of life, existentialists tend to be more hung up on the pessimism of the false structures that human civilization have erected in the vacuum of seemingly pointlessness of life. Oh. I'll say civilizations because different ones have erected in the vacuum of seemingly pointlessness. In the vacuum of the seemingly pointlessness of life. All right, cool. All right. Existentialists have take issue with the idea of absolute truth, which is that can lead to repressive systems like patriarchy, racism, and religious persecution. I don't think I spelled that right. Oh, I did, but I had too many words. All right, great. So that's my paragraph on existentialism. All right. I have my quotes, and I offer another quote. I have my parenthetical citations. I have my claim. I have an analysis and explanation. My quote is only, let's see, 2.5, and then we'll add that one 3. Okay, let's just say it's 3 lines. 3 lines worth of a quote out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All right, so calculator, 3 divide by 14, okay, is only 21%. So therefore, it has to be less than 30%. If you recall my lecture on writing paragraphs, okay? So that meets the requirement. All right. So now I have 2 body paragraphs. Get rid of this guy. All right. Okay, and it's indented. Okay, cool. So then I can go ahead and move on to the next paragraph. All right, and I can connect the philosophy of the book's theme to my the philosophy to the book's theme. All right. So here I have my paragraph about the feminist lens and the armchair. And then I talk about existentialism. And now I'm talking about how this book has an existentialist perspective. All right. Woo, the birds. All right. I want everybody, we're going to pause for a moment. All right. So, like in my outline, if you did it correctly, you pretty much already have your claim written. This is essentially the claim. This is the claim. All right, it's philosophical theme, and then you have your support. Okay, so then so you gotta piece them together, sew them together, and then add an analysis. Okay, so here we go. Delete this. All right. All right. So, Kate Chopin's story of an hour deals with a woman's initial and brief exposure to the existential joy brought on by freedom. Okay. This is connected to existential philosophy in that the only joy one can have is found by breaking through the social chains that human-made systems have created. Okay. The sense of radical freedom and self-determination is the greatest experience a person can feel, but society seeks to keep women from experiencing what it means to be truly human. Okay. Which is what makes Chopin's story so impactful because it, all right, now we're going to connect this. It, quote, addressed the negative connotations of marriage, and one of her short stories also revolves on the innermost intimate. Okay, because it, and I'm going to change this to addresses. Of marriage. All right, because it addresses the negative connotations of marriage. Dot dot dot. I deleted some. I'm going to change revolves to revolving around the inner, most intimate elements of the female psyche. All right. And I'm going to end it here. And then I'm going to put that's terrific and Cork. I'm not putting A all because there's only two authors. There's only two authors. You don't put A all. Remember that. Okay. That will be on your quiz. There's just two authors. No A all. All right. Let's see here. So let's go back through this. Kate Chopin's story of an hour deals with a woman's initial and brief exposure to the existential joy brought on by freedom. This is connected to existential philosophy in that the only joy one can have is found by can have been found now is found by breaking through the social chains that human-made systems have created. The sense of radical freedom and self-determination is the greatest experience a person can feel, but society seeks to keep women from experiencing what it means to be truly human, which is what makes Chopin's story so impactful because it addresses the negative connotations of marriage, revolving around the innermost intimate elements of the female psyche. I'm going to add in by revolving around the innermost intimate elements of the female psyche. All right. Now I need to do analysis. Okay. And here I would write, which I'm not going to do necessarily right now because, I mean, there's something more boring than listening to somebody write a paper. But I'm doing that to kind of show you, to kind of illustrate, what we do. All right. So I'm gonna pause this and write it, and then I will read it to you. Okay. So I wrote my analysis with a little more support. When Louise finds out that her husband is dead, she goes to her room at first weep, which is when she sees the open window. At this time, the patriarchy made women completely dependent on their husbands because being that it was the late 1800s, women couldn't have a bank account, so they lost all autonomy. So when her husband died, or I guess I should say when her husband dies, present tense, she realizes that she inherits all of his money and she will have no one to live for but herself, Chopin. This brings her such pleasure that she has a spontaneous orgasm and screams out, free, 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 while her pulses beat fast and the coursing blood warmed and relaxed every inch of her body. Chopin. Chopin is using this juxtaposition to make the connection that if an orgasm is the greatest sensational feeling one can have, absolute freedom to make one's own life choices now that she's a widow with money is the greatest existential pleasure one can have. Okay. So that's my analysis. All right. So that's that body paragraph. This is, let me fix this. This formatting's off a little bit. Okay. There's that body paragraph. There's that body paragraph. So I have here written my 3 body paragraphs. Okay. Next, I can do conclusion and introduction. Conclusion. How do you, let's see. How do you feel about this philosophy or lens or story Pick one to discuss how it relates to you, or your thoughts on it. Do you connect to one of these? Okay, something like that. All right, this is all personal. What do you think? What do you feel? Do you connect to it? Does this speak to you? The story, philosophy. You don't have to talk about all three, and don't talk about all three. Pick one thing to discuss for your conclusion. Wrap it up with a personal connection, either to the philosophy, the lens, or the story. Okay, that's all you. That's all you. When I post this example, I'll have a paragraph written. It's fine. Okay, but I don't want to spend this whole time just writing the paper in front of you. I'll write it and then I'll post it. Introduction. Okay, this is just the lead into your essay. You have all these things that you want to mention in your introduction. Okay. So let's see here. While you can begin with a quote, don't begin the first sentence with a quote. All right, everything needs to be integrated. Okay, so maybe something like Kate Chopin. Kate Chopin was, because she's dead, was a writer who was mostly ignored during her life, but she later was recognized for her feminist voice. Okay. Chopin's works, which has often been condemned as shocking and immoral, is now often praised for its subtle skill and its frank honesty, especially towards the lives of women. Okay. I'm gonna put right here. Evans, last name Evans, period. Okay. Delete this. Her short story, story of an hour, is it captures the feminist spirit that has been fighting to be heard for a century. Okay. All right. The story's themes and symbols, such as the open window, convey a deep existential message that that is probably misunderstood by men, but completely felt by the women who read it then and possibly now. Okay. Delete. Then I'm just going to tack on my thesis statement now. Story of an Hour by Coach Chopin is a feminist story that uses the symbol of an open window to address the existential crisis that many women experience. Okay. All right, great. I might instead do a semicolon and put thus. Oh, what just happened there? Thus. All right. Cool. Okay. Remember, y'all, listen. Academic writing is boring. Academic writing, you are not trying to entertain. Academic writing is all about convincing your reader, who is a professor or an instructor, a teacher, that you're smart and you understand the topic. Okay, you being a little redundant is okay. Being a little bit boring is fine because it's academic writing. This is not writing for an audience. You're not trying to captivate people. Okay. All right. So just in this lecture alone, just right now, however long this lecture is, I have written 4 of my main paragraphs. And it was pretty easy because one paragraph was already written and I had a very detailed outline. Okay. You have a detailed outline and you already wrote one good paragraph. All right. Put that in there. Boom. Write your introduction, write your other body paragraphs, and then have a final conclusion. How do you feel about this philosophy or lens of the story? So, like, for me, like, I'm not a woman. I hope my wife doesn't pray that I get killed in a train wreck. I hope she wouldn't have an orgasm at the idea of my death. Okay. So for me, I would write about how, like, I'm into existentialism, how I always questioned normal modes of living. People had these like very like specific structures in their lives that they thought was like, this is what you got to do. You got to do. You got to have like this. You got to have that, and like none of that appealed to me at all. I thought it would be more fun to be I would rather have been a train riding hobo than to be a banker. Okay, like, and so I would write about, for me, between existentialism, feminism, and the story of an hour. I, being a male, I'm just going to connect more with existentialism. All right. I don't need to write about all 3 of these for my conclusion. I'm just going to pick one thing of those 3 things that I can relate to. And I relate the most to that. All right. So I would write that conclusion. Okay. So I wrote my conclusion. Here I have existentialism. That's what I'm discussing. Existentialism has always spoken to me on a personal level because I was just born a skeptic. People would try to convince me of social, capitalistic, and Christian norms that I didn't really believe. I don't believe that a male-dominated society is best. I don't believe that wealth is the deciding factor of success. I don't believe that to find God, you go to a church. I don't believe in competition, whether that is political, social, national, or global. I always sought after other ideas of living, and I don't believe the way you live can't change as you age. But being that I have no faith in grounding institutions, I have been able to free myself from a lot of disappointment. I'm fine knowing that I'm on my own vessel, now accompanied by my wife and children, challenging the waves of existential drift. Boom, done. Okay, I picked one of those 3 things and I discussed it about me. Okay, all right. So now, works cited page. Now, if you did the assignments correctly and you use the same sources that are in your annotated bibliography, then you have it right here. Okay. I'm going to take my works cited page that I turned in. I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to go to my paper. Where is it? Right here. Okay. Yeah. And I'm going to put it at the end. But before I do that, though, I'm going to check, though. I got to check. All right. So this source right here, I know I used that because it's up here. Boom, right there. Okay. All right. Kate Chopin, Story of an Hour. I used that essay. I've quoted her, so that she's there. Robert Evans. Did I use Robert Evans in my as a quote? Let me just do this. Control F. Evans. 3 results. So I used them on my works cited page, and then there he is in my paper. Cool. So I've used him. Existentialism. Did I use this? I know I did. Okay. Yep. Right there and right there. It's in my paper. And it is right there. Okay. So I've used that one. Snodgrass. Snodgrass. Have I used Snodgrass? Snodgrass. All right. I used her there. And then, okay, there it is. Yes. Okay, great. So I've used all my sources. All the sources are used in my paper. That was super easy because I've already written my works cited page and I used all the sources. Okay. So you got to make sure that the sources that are on your works cited page you use in your paper, and that the sources you use in the paper are in your works cited page, and that they're in alphabetical order: A, C, E, E, V, E, X, A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, X, TUV. These are out of order. What a dork. Okay, let me move this. EV comes after EX. TUVWX. Oh, wait, no, I'm stupid. All right, well, no, I'm dumb. EV comes before EX. All right. And then Snodgrass is the last one. Cool. Okay, so now my paper is done. That's it. All right. I wrote my paper sitting in during this lecture with y'all. And I know I didn't write one paragraph per day. Okay. So take that with how you will. All right, whatever. But my paper is done. I'm gonna save it. Let's see, I'm saving it as SA1 example. File save. I hope I saved it as SA1 example. I hope this SA1 short story analysis doc. Yeah. Oh, that's right, because I saved it already. Yeah. And now I'm ready to go and submit it. Okay. Now look, let's just say this though. Let's say you write it, which is great. You should write it. You shouldn't submit it right away though. I am rushing. You should go over here to our page. Oh, I never pulled it up because I was having problems getting there. Okay, so Blackboard. So before you submit your paper, you should try to log in. You should try to make an appointment with the writing lab. The writing lab will help you look over your paper and see if there's like errors. They don't edit for you, all right? Like they don't do that. They do not edit the paper, all right? They don't let's see. Oh, oops. 013509. Okay. They don't edit they don't change or rewrite your papers for you. They go over it with you so that way you can see what needs to be done. Okay. But they do sit with you and they help you work through your paper. All right. So that's what you need to do. And let me show you this. Okay. So this is our essay. I mean, this is our class lessons. Go to lessons. Under lessons is free writing tutoring right here. Click on this and it should take you to the Learning Center for Lawrenceville campus. If it doesn't take you there, you can just search up Writing Tutor or Writing Center at Gwinnett Tech, and you can make an appointment, and they can sit with you and help you work through your essay. They do not edit it or rewrite it for you. They sit with you, they read it, and they talk to you about it, about what you need to do to improve. Okay, and so that's really important. You should definitely do that. All right. Okay. So for sake of time, I am not going to, in this lecture, in this part, I'm not going to go over essay examples or using AI. I will probably do that on maybe in our live. Yeah, I'll do that on our live essay. I mean, our live lecture for next week. Okay. This week, mainly, it was just this one right here is just going to be about writing your essay. Okay. There will be a integrating quotes quiz. So make sure that you I don't want to go through that right now. I don't want to go through a review. I mean, I kind of demonstrated how to integrate your quotes here. You know, you can't have drop quotes. You can change the word. You can it just can't be dramatically changed. You can add ellipses, all right, to cut things out. There can be no drop quotes. If you are using a source that doesn't have a title, I mean, that doesn't have an author's name, you put the title's name there, okay? If you are using an author with two names, you put the two names there. If you're using a source with three names, then you just put the first name and then a all, okay? All that's on the quiz. So I think you should, if you've been paying attention and watching these and reading the notes, you should be good. Okay. All right, great. Let me know if you have any questions. I will be available, and I'm gonna go ahead and post this pretty soon. Obviously, because you're watching it, so that was stupid to say. All right, y'all, take it easy now, and bye bye.